All right. So this live lecture is really just for you guys to ask questions about the homework. So if you have questions about the homework, I'll pull up the directions real fast. But think about if you have questions for the current homework. Remember, it's due, I
Tomorrow?
believe this, I don't think it's tomorrow, is it? No, it's Sunday.
I thought I saw on Brightspace that it was due on the 18th.
Let me double check. It's not going to be. If it's on Brightspaces, that it's a typo. No, 22nd.
Okay, my bad.
It's okay. Okay, yeah, so you guys got till Sunday, 22nd, for the homework. Just so everyone's kind of on the same page, the homework this week, like I said, is due the 22nd. Then from there, we'll jump to a new homework distributed the week of the 29th. So sorry, scratch that. A new homework distributed the week of the 22nd about functions, okay? And then the week after that, then you're going to get another homework distributed about arrays. So they're going to overlap each other, but you'll get 2 weeks for each of them. Okay, just so you are aware of that. Nothing really changes except that they're overlapping. From there, we'll just move on and do the final. And the final is going to be the same as the midterm, the A part, B part, C part. Okay, so from there, that's all the points. So you could say week 13, you'll have 10 points for weekly discussion. You'll have 10 points week 14, 10 points week 15, 10 points week 16. 100 points for this homework assignment, 100 points for functions, 100 points for array, 100 points for the final. That's 400 points plus 10 times, what is that, 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 440 points left in the class. That's still a significant chunk. So just make sure you're aware of that. Let's see what that overall is. Yeah, overall we're at 320 plus the midterm, that's 420. So yeah, I mean, it's still a good chunk. So kind of, I mean, there's some of the classes I feel like they go downhill point wise once the semester is coming to a wrap, but this one isn't. If it were me, I'd try to set myself up in a position where the final didn't matter. Meaning if you can ace the homeworks from here on out and you've aced the course, 100 points out of 1,000 is nothing. That's a 10th. When I give you a 50% anyways, you just got 50% of the 100. That's literally nothing to miss 50 points if you have an A in a class that has 1,000 points, which will be close to 1,000. So that would be my advice. Any questions about what we're going to do moving forward? I'll kind of give you guys a second if you want to do the chat or say something. It's up to you.
My only questions are about homework because I am dumb as beans.
Well, I don't think that, but yeah, we'll get to the homework in a minute. Last thing, and now I lost my train of thought here. There's one more thing. About live lectures. I feel like what I'm going to do each week, as opposed to trying to set if there is a live lecture X week or whatever, I'm going to ask you, do you want to have a live lecture next week? I don't know if I'm going to do some kind of like straw poll or what, but you'll find it on Brightspace in the announcements. There might be just some kind of discussion post. Just type yes if you want one, no if you don't, and we'll kind of go from there. Did you guys all see the announcement about live lecture in the lab? I can't host it anymore, so I won't be there for that. So
that's fair.
Yeah, so we'll try to figure out what we want to do in regards to live lectures moving forward. I think that they're beneficial. It's just kind of a matter of finding time. That's all it is. Trying to make sure I get all the classes the way I want them. No other questions about that? I'm looking to my left a lot because everything's on the left monitor. That's why you guys are wondering. Okay, so Bruce, you can go ahead and go first because you said you had a question. So ask me a question about the homework.
Actually, I've got a lot of questions, but to start out, for the Hangman one, I know I asked in the discussion how I should set up the string so that the number of underscores matches the number of letters in the word.
Mhm.
But honestly, I was still confused by your answer. Because
Okay.
like I don't like I figured out I was like, okay, so I've got to have it for like I figured it should probably be coded like if there is a letter at 0.0, add an underscore and then have it loop so that keeps checking the if there's a character at that space until it reaches a point where there isn't a character. I'm just stuck.
Who's got an idea for that? Who has it done? Anybody have it done? Me. Jason says he does, but it's not really Jason, I don't think, right? It's
What do
Brendan.
you mean? Not really good.
What's that? Bruce, I didn't hear what you said.
I said, what do you mean it's not really Jason?
Oh, he's logged in as his dad, I think. Any ideas on that? Anybody have a suggestion? Anything on moving forward?
Yeah, because honestly, I don't know how to do anything.
Well, I can't. The thing with all this always is I can't just give the answer. I know how to pull it up and code it. There we go. What Cynthia's saying. Use the length of the word and set how many times a loop will go. Good. You need to know how long the word is first. Set up some kind of loop, and then store that into a string. So we can look at something here. Let's take a look. I'm going to try to share my screen.
Okay, so I know that there's a length function.
Right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So let's just say that there's something in here called string word. That's the word that we want them to guess. I'm just going to fill it in. I'm not going to ask for C in, C out because we should all know that. All I'm going to do is just put some kind of word in here like testing. Okay. And then I know from Cynthia, and let me get this so I can see the chat and everything too, because I got to get this thing a specific way to see it all. Hold on one second. How do I get... Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, now if you type something in the chat, I'll be able to see it too. Okay, so at this point I haven't, and you guys can still see my screen, right?
I can.
Okay, cool. Length. Well, how do I get the length of the word? Bruce?
You use the size function, right? Or
Nope.
the length function, whichever one you prefer.
What was the other one you said?
Size or length.
Length works. Let's use length. I'll say word, dot length. Well, if I wanted to display, so we know we have to cycle through every word letter by letter, no matter what. Why do I have to do that? Why do I have to? There's no way around cycling through this word letter by letter. We have to do that. Why?
Because there's no limit to how many characters you put in.
We don't know how long the word is because we're letting the user put in whatever word they want. So at this point, I need a basic for loop. Someone in chat who doesn't have the video on, type out what that for loop should be. I want to cycle through this letter by letter. Not Jason, not Cynthia, somebody else. What would the basic for loop for this be? Shane says for int I equals 0, I less than length, I plus plus. I agree. Or int I is equal to 0. Whoops. I is less than the length I plus plus. Very good. At this point, we can cycle through this letter, no matter how long it is, letter by letter, or cycle through this word letter by letter. But what we want is we want another word, maybe called dashes, okay? String dashes. And I want to concatenate to dashes. What operator or operators do I use to concatenate? Feel free to just yell it out or type it in the chat. Either one works. Everybody know what I mean by concatenate? What do I mean by? I just added an empty char, then a dash. That would probably work. What I would do is just say dashes plus equals a dash. And it might throw a fit when we try to run this here. I'll tell you why if it does. All we're saying is just add a dash to
A dash or an underscore?
Whatever you want. I don't care.
Okay.
I think it's dash is in the program. I think all the examples show dashes. Yeah, all the screenshots show dashes, but I don't care if it's dash or underscore. Doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
So we can run this and then output it, and we should see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dashes. And we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I got build errors.
Well, then it must not match mine. I know I've said this in the other videos about.
Oh, I put semicolons instead of commas. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I mean, I put commas instead of
Yeah, that's okay. I figured. I knew what you meant. Does this help? Who else was having questions on that or issues?
Still get. Oh.
Just write, Bruce. If I would just write notes to myself. Just maybe take a screenshot of this or something. There's no way. I wouldn't think you could just throw this into your code and it just works. You're going to have different variable names and things. I mean, there's too much going on in your code, or there should be, to just throw it in and say, okay, I got that done for my project. That should come later, after lecture. In my opinion, you can do what you want though. Any other questions about the dashes?
I just put in your code, but when I do it, I just get when I put in my word, I get blank spaces instead of dashes.
Okay. Beth said, I thought to use string display. You mean you just called it display? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
String display.
Yeah, call it whatever you want. But at this point, you're going to compare what the user guessed based off of word. And then if they get a letter right, then you replace it in dashes. If that makes sense. So it is kind of, you're going to have two different variables going here. So
No,
just so you know.
what I mean is, like, in the homework, it has, like, you enter the word, and then on the next line, it shows the dashes for the same number of letters. But I'm saying that when I do that and I enter the word that you use, which is testing, I don't get dashes. I just get an extra line full of blank spaces.
Omar, do you know what brand it was?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I mean, I'm not sure if you're asking me to debug it or.
No, I'm not at here. Maybe I can, like, show a video of my screen. How do I switch my screen? Oh, here's the button.
Hold on, I got to change the security. Oh yeah, you can do it that way too.
See, I put in testing and I just got blank spaces.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I can't. You're not showing me any code, so there's no way I can tell.
I can show you my code. This is what I've got.
Who wants to help out with that error? I've talked about it in numerous videos. Who wants to help with that error? Anybody got an idea? All right, then my question is to Bruce, how is yours different than mine? Because I think this is a thing that with a lot of students in these intro classes, they say mine's identical to yours, but it's not working. Yours is not identical to mine. That's why it is not working. So what is the difference? How is your code different from mine?
Can I see your code again, please?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Very good, Jason. Look at Jason's comment.
She grabbed the length of the word there is not a variable.
You're trying to get the length of the word before the user enters in the word they want to guess.
Oh!
You can't do that. The length of it would be 0.
I feel silly.
No, it's fine. It'll happen a lot.
Let me try it again. Okay, it's working now.
Okay, awesome. What other questions do you guys have? For program 2, I can't figure out how to get my program to loop forever until the user enters -999. It works if I just enter the input 1, but if I mix up my inputs, it will shut down. Can you share your screen and show me what you mean? I don't know if you're on a computer or not, Lucas. Luke, you got a mic? Okay, give a second. Cool. Anybody else got a different question? Luke said it's gonna take him a minute. Anybody else got another question?
I had a bunch of them, but watching your video that you posted yesterday has made me kind of answer some questions. So I've been actually plugging away at that. So
Very good. Yeah, so I guess that's a good point, Shane. My first question to Luke might be, did you watch that video yet or no? Because I thought I put in, Shane, can you remind me, did we do a -999 to exit that one too?
We did, yeah.
Okay, I thought so. So,
like it, yeah.
Okay, so Luke, if you haven't watched that video, oh, you did watch it. Okay, no, that's fine. You can pull your code up. Don't worry. I just wanted to make sure first. Any other questions? Anything else? Well, let's look at my screen real fast. And we can kind of start to maybe help Luke out with some of this as we're going. So the first thing is that you want this program to run no matter what, right? They key in a word, as long as they don't key in -999, we'll ask them to enter some kind of sentence. So we could do something like while some kind of variable, we'll say selection does not equal -999. While it's not that, then we'll continue on and we'll say something like int SEL. By default, we'll set it up to be equal to 99 or something like this. It really, there are tons of ways to do this. I mean, you could even make this a Boolean and say while true or while still running, something like that. It doesn't matter. But what I'm going to do to start this off is just set selection up to 99. I'm going to set it to 99 because 99 is not a valid menu choice, but I'm also going to have them change that in the end. So this is just some dummy variables. You can't leave it undefined like this because it won't have anything to compare to negative 999. So we'll say selection is equal to 99, okay? I think with this homework, it's pretty easy to get confused because you want to try to solve it all at once, and I wouldn't do that. What I would do first is I would set up the loop that says while you don't enter negative 999, I'll continue to say something. So we'll say just see out program running with an indel. And then outside of this loop, we'll do something like see out program ended with an indel. Because when we get out of it, I want to make sure that I know why I was kicked out of it. Okay. So in here, you would probably, I think the next thing is to ask the user for a sentence. Ask the user to make a menu selection. So we still need to do that. So maybe we'll say see out. And I think on the homework, I just say selection, something like this. And then we'll see into selection. What's the next logical step in this? What would you want to do next? So they're going to give us some kind of value, okay? What would your next step be? What would you do next? They gave us some value. We hope it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. But if it's not, what do we want to do? Put in a checker to see if they put in negative 999 or not. You could, Jason. I mean, it could probably work. But my checker is here, right? I'll kick back up here. So I could easily just do something like this. I could run this thing, and I'll go ahead and comment some of this out. There, Luke, that's kind of what I was thinking. If they do not put in 1 through 4, say invalid, and then ask them again. So our program is running. I'll put in 6. Our program is still running. 7, negative 999, it ended. That's good. That's the first step. Cross that off of some kind of checklist that you have sitting next to you while you're coding. But I kind of agree with Luke. We want to see, did you give me 1, 2, 3, or 4? Okay. If you didn't give me those, I have to continue to ask you until you give me 1, 2, 3, 4, or negative 999. Either one of those are valid menu options. Okay. How could I write that loop? It has to be a loop because I have to continue to ask until you give me something that is a good menu selection. How could I write that loop? Do you put loops within that loop with the inputs 1 through 4? Yeah. You'd say something like this. While selection does not equal 1 or, whoops. Feel free to yell at me if I'm doing something wrong. Selection does not equal 2 or selection does not equal 3 or selection does not equal 4 or selection does not equal negative 999. If it doesn't equal any of these things, then that means you gave me bad input. These are the only viable menu options. So I need to say something like see out invalid input. Try again. And we'll say something like selection. And then we'll see into selection. Hearing no discrepancies, let's move on with that. So we'll give it a run and see what happens. I'll put in 1 and it says invalid input. Try again. 2, invalid input, try again. 10, invalid input, try again. Something's not right.
I put for the selection to be either less than 1 or greater than 4 to kick out.
Perfect, Shane.
Invalid.
That's a perfect way to do it. If it's between in this range, that's fine. Yep, that's Lucas, that's good too. Someone tell me why this is an error. It is an error. I know it's an error, and there's a way to fix it. How do ORs get evaluated? You're going to say say the user puts in a 1, okay? They key in 1. User types 1. 1 does not equal 1. True? False. 1 does equal 1. 1 does not equal 2. True? These aren't trick questions, I promise.
Yep.
It's true. How many things need to evaluate the true for an OR to evaluate the true? 1.
Just one of them.
What, say it, Bruce? Sorry.
Just one of them.
Just one of them. So basically what you're saying is if the user doesn't key in 1, 2, 3, 4, and -999, that's an impossible scenario. They can't do that. It's going to execute that. You have this loop that will always execute. And Caleb has the answer. Because it's not an OR, it needs to be an AND. English-wise, we're going to read that and say, if they don't key in this, or this, or this, yeah, that's how we'll say it in English. But we have to know that that actually means that this needs to be an AND. So these all flip to ANDs. We should be good to go. And yeah, you could totally set up some kind of user in some kind of range with some greater than less than stuff. So we'll say 2, program still running, 3, 4, 1, -999. Whoops, let's try something invalid. 10, invalid input, try again. 9, invalid input, try again. -999, program is ended. You might have set up why when you define. Yeah, I could literally define it as anything other than -999. The reason is because I always under this assumption, if you double clicked on my icon on the desktop, you want to run my program once. I don't feel like I need to ask you first, hey, what's your selection? I feel like you want to run it once, so I'll make sure that this evaluates the true. What's the other thing that we talked about in the slides that you could do instead of that? I just don't use them. Anybody remember?
The do while?
Hey, very good. Who said that?
Shane.
Yeah, Shane. Do while. Do you remember why? It's okay if you don't. It's a post-test loop.
Yeah.
That means that the evaluation gets done after one iteration through the loop. So then I'll go on to check, and we don't essentially have to do this anymore. So that's just it. I don't like using do while loops because there are very specific cases when to use them, but I can make a while loop work for anything. And so that's why I would use a while loop here. So at this point, once you get a valid selection, well, I'm just going to come down here and say if selection is equal to 1, else if equal to 2, else if equal to 3, so on, so on. And from there, it's just the actual input or the actual algorithm. So display the middle character, convert to uppercase, convert to lowercase, and then display backwards, which you will have loops in all of those as well. What are the specific cases to use a do while? It would just be menu-driven programs. Reading files, sometimes people use them to read files too. But other than that, you can do it, but in some cases, it's going to get you into a mess where you're actually going to do something one time and it never should have happened. What other questions do we have about this? So would you make an if statement for the 1 through 4 inputs and have the loops run within the if statements? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so in here, select, what's selection 1? It's what? Oh my goodness.
I've got another question about.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. So you'll say the middle character doesn't need a loop. There you go. There's a hint. The middle character doesn't need a loop. So option 1 doesn't need a loop. But for option 2, you'd say something like 4, and then int I is equal to 0. I is less than sentence dot length. And I know I haven't defined it, but this is just kind of pseudocode. And you'd say I++. And then do something based off of every letter in the sentence. So that helps. Okay, good. All right, Bruce, what's your question?
While you're taking questions about the manipulation one, I was just wondering what the code to close the program is.
Code to close the program? I don't know what you mean by close it.
When they enter -999.
You're saying in the code that I have on the screen, what's making it close?
Yeah.
This part right here. While selection doesn't equal -999.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. So while selection doesn't equal -999, this loop continues to run over and over and over. While they don't give us 1, 2, 3, 4, or -999, this loop continues to run over and over and over.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll just look at that. Look at that one after the live lecture, because like I don't think I'll have time. Never mind.
Okay.
No,
Who else has questions?
I had another question about Hangman.
Okay, go for it.
I figured that for when they actually guess the letters, we could use the code that we used for the last one, where it's like if word at zero equals letter guess at 0. But I was wondering, like, since the word can be any length, I was just wondering at what point for that do you stop?
Yeah, so you cannot use what you did, what you said. You can't say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That'd be hard coded. That needs to be some kind of counter and some kind of loop.
Okay.
So you have to loop through the word letter by letter numerous times. You loop through it and you say, does this letter at index I equal the letter that the user keyed in, yes or no? If it does, then replace it in dashes. Cycle through to the next letter at position 1. Does the letter the user put in match the letter at position 1, yes or no? If it does, do something. If it doesn't, continue the loop. And you got to cycle through the word all the way until the end.
Okay. So I guess what I'm wondering is how to have that loop in place where it keeps going through the position of the letter until it reaches the end of the letter.
That's kind of vague.
Sorry.
That's okay. I can look at your code and help you, but I can't just show you how to do it. Imagine trying to hard code a word. Yeah, exactly. So Joe, you're right. Yeah, you can't do a hard code for that. I don't want to imagine that.
I guess what I mean is, like, here, how do I see if I'm for like this part, I just want to know how to code the loop so that you don't have to put in the if word dot at.
Right. So what code do you have for it so far that I could look at and try to push you in the right direction?
Well, I'm trying to show it to you right now. Like, since you said that I can't hard code it so that it goes through all the positions on the letter, I was just wondering, like, what sort of looping code should I put there to not have it do that?
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is I need to see more code to help you. I can't just show you my for loop on how to cycle through it. I mean,
Sorry,
if someone wants to help, another student wants to help, I'm fine with that.
This is my whole code so far.
I
know
can't
it's-
read it, to be
I'm,
honest.
I'm sorry. I don't know how to. That's the least zoomed out I can get it.
You
so I
you
don't
can
know.
you can just click share screen in the bottom, and we'll see your
Oh.
screen.
Well, I'm on my tablet right now, so if you
Oh,
want to share my
Yeah, that
tablet-
won't work then. What was the while? You had a while loop in there. That's what I could see. What was that while loop for?
While letter guess dot length is greater than 1,
Okay.
if, and then in that it says if letter guess dot length is greater than 1, see out you did not enter a letter, you did not guess a letter, try again, see and letter guess.
Okay. So
And that-
how could you make a loop to cycle through a word letter by letter?
I don't know.
Didn't we already do that?
Oh.
Right. So can't you just take that and then use position I? I mean, so in one of the videos we said, hey, what if I wanted you to display a word and I want every letter on a new line? Do you remember doing that in the video?
No, I have to admit I haven't gotten to that video yet.
That was the video before last week's video. Did you watch that one?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, watch the videos. You gotta watch the videos.
I know, I'm still catching up on the other videos.
It's okay. Just watch those. Yeah. So yeah, you definitely want to go back to the videos. Those will help. You'll need a counter to count up to every iteration. Good, Jason. You're right. So we have a counter up here, this for loop here. For int I is equal to 0, I is less than length, I plus plus. That's going to be a standard loop that you use on this program.
You want me to use that same like conditioning for checking the if the letter is used? Like int I equals 0, I is less than word length.
I think you have to come up with that. You have to experiment and test some things and test the code and see what works.
Okay.
I would highly recommend you watch all the videos first. Highly recommend that.
Okay.
That would be my first suggestion. And then that's for anybody. If you haven't watched the videos yet, you need to watch the videos. I mean, this whole thing was almost in the videos that I uploaded this week.
Yeah, this week's video really helped a lot. I haven't had a chance to really dig into it as much as I need to, but it
Sure.
answered a bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, good. Yeah, I'm glad it helped. Yep, and Jason's helping you out in the comments over there.
Oh, sorry.
You can use the expression in the parentheses and the dot at. So yeah, you'll have to use dot at that point too. Dot at position I. That's how you can cycle through it for every iteration of every letter inside of the word. What other questions do you guys have? Who's worked on option 4 of the menu, display it backwards? Anybody there yet? Because that's a loop I haven't taught you yet. And I'd be more than willing to answer some questions about that if you want me to.
I haven't started trying yet.
Okay, so let's walk through this together and try to understand how we can do this. So if you had just a word, Cynthia, you're saying you did do it. I think Jacob, you're saying you did, and Jason, you did. Good. If you guys got that done, good for you guys. If you were going to take a 5-letter word and display it backwards, couldn't you just say, so we'll say string word is equal to, we'll just say hello. And then you say, well, I want to see out, I want to do it backwards. I'd say see out word dot at position for word dot at position 3 all the way to word dot at position 0 with an indel. Everybody agree with that? That would display that word backwards.
Yep.
Absolutely. Why can we not do that for this assignment? Why can we not do that for this assignment now?
Because if you have like a word that is like 1,000, imagine doing all of that.
Right. You can't do it. So Joseph brings up this thing of if it's 1,000, I mean, you're going to have 1,000 dot ads. That's a lot. Well, what if they key in something that's 1? You're going to be looking for position 1,000 that doesn't exist in the word. That still doesn't work. So it can't be hard coded. This has to work for any word. A regular for loop looks like this. We say int I is equal to 0. I is less than word dot length I plus plus. Int I equals 0. I is less than word dot length I plus plus. Regular for loop starts at 0, goes to however long the word is. Start at 0, go to position 4. Correct? Flip it. I want it to start at the length and go to position 0. That's all you have to do. I want it to start at the length of the word and go to position 0. So we could say something like this: for int I is equal to what?
Word dot length.
I think I heard Michael say word dot length.
Yes.
Jason put in word dot length. Close, but aren't the length and the index off by 1? It's got to be -1. So this is just one of those weird cases where there's no way around saying that this has to be word dot length -1. Well, how long do you want this loop to go? So now we have a new kind of condition. We were always saying while I is less than the length, what would this need to be?
More than 0.
Very good. Yeah. And then I see someone saying I is equal to 0. Yeah. So we'll say as long as I is greater than or equal to 0, continue on. Last time we were incrementing to go through the loop. What do we want to do now? Not increment.
Minus.
Decrement, I minus minus. Very good. See out word dot at I. And Bruce, this is, here you go. Here's a thing here where this is how you can cycle through a word letter by letter. So we'll go ahead and click start on that. We should get OLLEH, hopefully. OLLEH, that's on separate lines. Just do that. OLLEH, and we're good to go. So there's option 4 right there for you done. All you really have to do is copy that in and change some variable names, and you're done. Like 10 free points, I think. For 2 and 3, we can't use 2 upper, 2 lower. So is there another code that does that? No, you have to write it. So there's no function I want you to use. I just want you to figure out how to do it. I talked about it in another video.
I've been playing around with that a little bit. I haven't gone too far, but so I was playing with like either adding or subtracting 32.
Perfect.
Like casting it to, you know.
Yeah, no, you don't need any casting. Let's just do this. We'll say char let is equal to a, and then we'll say let is equal to let plus lower cases higher. So we'll say minus 32. And then we'll say C out of let with, is that, yeah, that should be right. And we'll just comment this out.
Don't even have to cast it. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to cast it because everything's stored as numbers anyways, and you get the uppercase equivalent of lower a. So if you were doing the reverse, you'd have to add 32 to it. And I want to be clear here, this is a very oversimplified example for what you'll have to do for 2 and 3, because you have to cycle through each letter of the word. Then you need to determine if it's already uppercase or already lowercase. You also have to make sure that it's not a special character. So if it's between uppercase A and uppercase Z, do something. Else if it's between the lowercase a and lowercase z, do something. else, it's some special character do literally nothing to it because I need to keep that the same. And you said this was yeah, I think it was in the last live lecture. But we did a little bit with uppercase, lowercase letters. And the reason it's 32 is because in the ASCII table, all of the uppercase letters and lowercase letters are off by 32. That's all it is. You could have just counted it out. But that is essentially how 2 upper and 2 lower would be working behind the scenes. Other questions for me? I know it's been asked a lot about vectors. You cannot use vectors. Anything else? Anything you need me to run, or are we ready to wrap it up? For Hangman, I have 2 questions on how to make the statement, you guessed the letters at position index correctly. 1 sentence if you get more than 1 letter in a guess. Yeah, that one's hard to get that. So you're talking about the commas. Let me try to pull this up. Caleb, you're talking about the commas, or like the and is what you're talking about. How do you get it to say and or not and if it doesn't need it? If it's less than 10 letters. Okay, let's try to look at that then. Whoops, I keep doing that. All right. So if you're cycling through the word letter by letter, you need to, I'm trying to decide how I want to code this. I just want to talk about it and then maybe well, let me know, Caleb and Cynthia, if I just kind of talk about it, rough algorithm, and then I upload, yes, this is going to be posted. And then I upload an example here at the bottom with some comments, would that help? Or do you want me to go through it via the video? Your integer, you're saying your integer is being converted to a char? Do you have a mic? Because I'm not sure what you're saying, Caleb. I can't hear you if you're talking, so I'm not sure if you're talking or not. Oh, you don't have a mic. I don't know what you mean. You're trying to prevent an integer from being converted to a char? Okay, yep, thanks. I'll upload this video, Mike. My integer for index is going to a char and I don't know why. You'd have to show me code. I wouldn't know. You probably have about 100, 300 lines of code. I wouldn't know why either. So I don't know if you're on a computer or if you're on a cell phone or what, but if you could share your screen and show me some code, that would totally help. If not, we'll have to figure something else out. Share your screen. Okay, yeah, go for it. I only have about 9 minutes left because I got to go pick my son up from daycare. So that Cynthia, I was asking, is if I upload something with the code, because I feel like it's going to take longer than this time and I comment, is that okay? Or do you guys want me to try to do another video for that part? I'm fine either way. I just got to know how to proceed. That would work. Just uploading the code, you're saying? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I'll put another spot down here and I'll try to get that uploaded by tomorrow morning. Caleb, I'm not seeing your screen if you're trying to share it. Cynthia, if you want to email me your code, you could do that too. And I could take a look and let you know if you're in the right direction. And you're saying you don't have a mic? Because I mean, I don't even know what you're saying. You're just highlighting some code. Plus position. So I guess I would say, Caleb, run it and let me see what it does, because I don't know what you're saying. Just let me see the output screen. He has permission. You got to show me your console, the command prompt. I don't see anything. All I see is your code. Line 88 is what's in the middle, but I don't see any kind of process running on my window. There we go. You guys select that position blank and blank, right? All right, minimize that, please. What's POS? Show me that variable. It's an int, I assume. Okay, yeah, scroll down. So this is one of the things that I need to put in this direction here that I'm going to put at the bottom. Scroll to where it says that surround position in 2_string with parentheses. Line 91. Yeah, right there. TO underscore string, and then parentheses around position. I think some of these things they don't transfer as well online, because usually students are asking these questions a lot earlier, and I get to help with that. Yeah, you totally need 2_string on this, and I'll explain why. Two and three, good. So the issue is that when you're trying to concatenate with that position is an integer. And when you're saying plus equals integer stored as an int, you're basically going to try to add two numbers together, then convert it to a char and give it back. And the question mark just says that it's a char that doesn't exist. Caleb, does that help? Yeah, the second and you need some kind of counter in there to figure out how many there are. If you got more than one, then I need an and, but I don't want it at the end. It might help too to look at that, how we made that in the first video, the comma separated list, but we didn't want a comma at the end. Same kind of thought process. So 2 underscore string just converts that thing to be a string, that integer. You're welcome. Other questions for me? Like I said, I'll put a quick little, will this be uploaded onto Brightspace Act? It will be uploaded at some point. I have to convert it and then get it to YouTube. And then I have to put the closed captions on YouTube. And then I have to finish this spot in this example for what letters they got right. But after that, yeah. So probably by tomorrow night at the latest. Anything else? If you need me to review your code, send me your code via email and I'll take a look at it. If not, I will upload this video, like I said, as soon as I get all the other stuff done with it. And I will see you guys probably next week in a live lecture as well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. If you need anything else, please let me know.